Hello children, we saw in our last class, that is our chapter heat. Okay, that is heat lesson we saw about it. So what is the heat, how to measure the heat and how to measure the temperature also. So what is the instrument we use to measure the temperature? That is thermometer. Okay, so that also we saw. So what are the types of thermometers? Two types of thermometers are there to measure the temperature. Okay, so what are the two types of temperature? Sorry, thermometers: clinical thermometer and laboratory thermometer. Clinical thermometer and laboratory thermometer. So about clinical thermometer we saw in our last class. Okay, so that is we are using, that is clinical thermometers are used in the main purpose of the healthcare industry. Okay, that is in hospitals and clinics. So nowadays we are using the digital thermometers in our houses also. Okay, so many people they are having with them. Okay, that is by measuring of the body temperature. Okay, so that is preventing from the another diseases, that is fever. Okay, so then now let us move on to the laboratory thermometer. Okay, so laboratory thermometer is also having the same as the clinical thermometer, but the temperature we are measuring in the laboratory thermometer is little bit high. Okay, so what is the measurement we are measuring using the clinical thermometer? That is only in between the 35 degrees Celsius. Okay, 35 degrees Celsius to 42 degrees Celsius. Okay, so the clinical in the clinical thermometer we are using the measurement. Okay, we can measure only the 35 degrees Celsius to 42 degrees Celsius. Okay, but in laboratory thermometer is different from the clinical thermometer. Here we want to measure the temperature of the liquids and what we are doing the compounds. So there are we want to measure the temperature of that solution. So here we want to measure the high temperature also. So for that purpose we are having the laboratory thermometers. We can't measure the temperature in labs using the clinical thermometer. Okay, so here we are using the laboratory thermometers. The measurement of the what is the temperature we can measure using the laboratory thermometer? That is minus 10 degrees Celsius to, okay, minus 10 degrees Celsius to 110 degrees Celsius. See, minus 10 degrees Celsius to 110 degrees Celsius. Okay, so these are the difference between the laboratory thermometer and clinical thermometer. Okay, so here also we have a bulb in that. So in laboratory thermometer also we have a bulb. Okay, so at the end point we can't draw the horizontal form. Okay, so in all ways we can draw the laboratory thermometer in vertical form only. Okay, so here this is a bulb. Okay, so in this, inside this we have a mercury glass tube. Okay, mercury glass tube. See, like this we have a laboratory thermometer. Okay, so inside this we have a thin glass tube. Thin glass tube. Here we are filling inside this. Here in this also you have a kink. In this also you have a kink. So it preserves the mercury inside this bulb. Okay. So while we are checking the temperature of the solution or any other liquids in the laboratory, while the bulb should be heating. Okay. So while heating, the inside this mercury, or we are using mercury or any other colored alcohol also we can take here. Okay. So this should be increased in the glass tube. So there we can measure the measurements. Here it is a measurement in the thermometer. Okay, see, so like this. So we can hold the glass part only, not in the bulb. Okay, so at the end of this laboratory thermometer we have a bulb. We don't touch the bulb while taking the readings. Okay, while taking the readings. See here, minus 10 degree Celsius to 110 degree Celsius. We can measure by using a laboratory thermometer as minus 10 degree Celsius to 110 degree Celsius. Okay, understood children? See, we have a laboratory thermometer like this. So we can use the measurement by 10 degrees, minus 10 degrees Celsius to 110 degree Celsius. Okay children, understood? Okay. So what are the precautions we can take while using this laboratory thermometer? What are the precautions? So while handling this thermometer, we can handle with care. Okay, so this is very important for both the thermometers. This point is very important. We can handle with care. Okay, and then so laboratory thermometer also washed before and after use. Okay, so while using, we can wash this laboratory thermometer. That we can say it as before and after use of thermometers. We want to wash that thermometers. So how to wash? By the preferably antiseptic solutions. By the preferably antiseptic solutions. Okay, and this the laboratory thermometer should be keep. The level of it should be keep while reading this measurements. While we are doing the while we are measuring the temperature by using this laboratory thermometer, we can take, okay, so we can take the level of the mercury along the line of the sight, okay, along the line of the sight. Here also we can take the along the line of the sight. And thermometer should be keep upright, okay, so we can't take like this and like this also, okay, so we can't take the measurements by this. So it differs the temperature levels. Okay, so that we can take the measurement while doing the upright position of this laboratory thermometer. But in clinical thermometers, we can take any position. We can have the correct measurements. But in laboratory thermometer, we can take the upright position only, not in the other directions. Okay, so this is the main point. Okay, so that is we can't take the tilted positions. We can take only in the upright position. Okay, the bulb should not be touched and surface area of the container. If we are taking any container, in that we have a solutions. We can measure the temperature of the solutions. Okay, while taking this bulb does not touch the surface of the container. Okay, if you are taking any glass container or any other container, we can take the measurement, that is measure of the temperature of the solutions which is present on the glass containers. Okay, so while we are taking, only it should touch the solutions, not on the surface of the container. Do not touch the surface of the container. Okay children, understood? Okay, so these are the measurements. So removing the thermometer from a boiling solutions or boiling water, any liquids we are taking the measurement of the temperature. Okay, so while removing at the time of that temperature, we can't place it in a cold water or ice bath. Okay, so we don't keep that like that. So this may be caused to a break of the thermometer. Okay, it causes break of the thermometer. Okay, it broke down. The thermometer should be broke down. Okay, so don't keep the thermometer while taking out of the boiling water into a cold water. Okay, so this is the precautions we can take while using the laboratory thermometers. What are the precautions? Let us see once again. Handle the thermometer with care. Okay, and we don't touch the bulb of the thermometer while using, and then we want to wash the thermometers before and after the use of the thermometers, and then we can take the measurement of the temperature of the solutions while the upright position of the thermometer. Okay, not in the tilted positions or any other position. We can take the upright position only. Okay, and then that is this thermometer. In this you have bulb. This bulb doesn't touch the surface of the container. If it touch the container, we can't take the exact measurement. Okay, it changes. So we want the solution should be fully touched with the bulb of the thermometer. If it touch the container, the temperature should be differs. Okay, so for that this bulb doesn't touch the surface of the container. Okay, and then while moving the thermometer in the hot water or any other hot solutions, while we are taking the measurement of the temperature, so after removing that, we can't keep suddenly in the cold water or any other ice containers. Okay, so it mainly causes breaking of the thermometers. Okay, then we move on to the temperature scales. Okay, while we are measuring the temperature, we have a scales. Okay, what is meant by scales? We are using the measurements of Celsius. These are all the scales we are saying. Okay, so what are the types of scales? That is temperature scales. What are the scales we are using? Okay, we are using three types of scales. What are the three types of scales? Degree Celsius and degree Fahrenheit and Kelvin. Okay, three types of scales we are using. Okay, see the spellings are very important. Celsius, 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 and Fahrenheit, FAHRENHEIT, Fahrenheit. Okay, so then Kelvin, KELVIN, Kelvin. So what are the three types of scales we are using to measure the temperatures? Celsius, Fahrenheit and Kelvin. Okay, so this is very important. Children, keep it in your mind. What are the three types of scales we are using to measure the temperatures? Celsius, Fahrenheit and Kelvin. Okay, write these words 10 times. Then only you can get the spellings. Okay, Fahrenheit. Okay, pronounce the word and say the spellings and write the word. Okay, Celsius, Fahrenheit and Kelvin. Okay, so what are the three types of temperature scales we are using to measure the temperature? See, say again with me. Celsius, Fahrenheit and Kelvin. Celsius, Fahrenheit and Kelvin. Okay, so Celsius. So Celsius is around 1743. Okay, it is invented by Anders Celsius. Okay, so it is invented by Anders Celsius. Okay, so then Fahrenheit. So Fahrenheit, that is Daniel Gabriel Fahrenheit. So this was invented, Celsius was invented by Anders Celsius. So it may be as Celsius scale. Okay, and Fahrenheit, Gabriel. Okay, see, Daniel Gabriel Fahrenheit. Daniel Gabriel Fahrenheit. So it may be as Fahrenheit scale. Okay, and Kelvin. So you know that is Kelvin is named as the is invented by Kelvin. Okay, so it may be as Kelvin. Okay, so these are all the temperature scales we are using. Okay, and let us see the temperature scales. Temperatures we are using the different temperatures in the different scales of water. Okay, the water is having the temperature in that is differs in the different temperature scales. Okay, so that is temperature scales. Here we have Celsius, Fahrenheit and Kelvin. Okay, so here that is boiling point and freezing point. So boiling point means the high temperature. Freezing point means low temperature. Okay, so water is having Celsius scale, that is 100 degree Celsius, and freezing point is 0 degree Celsius, 0 degree Celsius. And in Fahrenheit scale, we have in Fahrenheit scale, that is 212 degree Fahrenheit and 32 degree Fahrenheit of freezing point. Water is having the boiling point in Fahrenheit scale 212 degree Fahrenheit and the freezing point of water in Fahrenheit scale, that is 32 degree Fahrenheit. Okay, in Kelvin scale. So in Kelvin scale we have 373 Kelvin. Here we don't use the degree in Kelvin scale. Okay, we are using degrees in only the Celsius and Fahrenheit scale, not in the Kelvin scale. So 373 Kelvin in Kelvin scale. The boiling point of water in Kelvin scale is 373 degree Kelvin. Sorry, 373 Kelvin. We don't use the degree in Kelvin scale. Okay, and the freezing point of water in Kelvin scale, that is 273 Kelvin. 273 Kelvin. Okay, let us read once again here. The boiling point of water in Celsius scale 100 degree Celsius and the freezing point of water in Celsius scale 0 degree Celsius. So boiling point of water in Fahrenheit scale 212 degree Fahrenheit. Okay, and the freezing point of water in Fahrenheit scale 32 degree Fahrenheit. Okay, and the boiling point of water in Kelvin scale 373 Kelvin and the freezing point of water in Kelvin scale 273 Kelvin. Okay, children, understood? Okay, then we move on to the another topic, that is transfer of heat. Okay, transfer of, till now how to measure the temperatures? We saw by using the clinical thermometer and laboratory thermometer, and what are the scales we are using? Temperature scales, Celsius scale, Fahrenheit scale and Kelvin scale. Can you understood now? I thought you are understood. Okay, then we move on to the transfer of heat. Okay. Transfer of heat. Okay, so heat energy always flows from one region to another region. So heat energy flows from hot region to cold region. So this cold region having the molecules. While moving that molecules, it comes here and there. While moving, the hot region molecules also mixing with the cold region molecules. Now if both are mixing, it becomes warmer. Okay, that cold region, it becomes warmer. I told in the first class, in this lesson, first class I told, that is, we have kept our hand inside the hot water and then we kept that hand again, we left 10 minutes and then we kept that hand in the cold water. How we are feeling? In warm water we are kept, means how we can feel it. So that is, in hot water hand we can feel it warmer. In cold water hand we can feel it. In cold water hand we can feel it warm. Okay, but in hot water hand we can feel it cool. Okay, so that's the difference between the hot and cold. So here the hot region molecules are mixed with the cold region molecules. So the cold region molecules are gets warmer than the cold. Okay, so here the heat energy flows from the hot region to the cold region. Okay, so one example I will tell you. You can do it in your home. Okay, that is, you can take a cold water in a glass tumbler. Okay, so half of the glass tumbler. You can take the cold water in the half of the glass tumbler. You can take a hot water. Okay, the boiling water, not a hot water. You can take a boiling water. So that water you can mix with that cold water. What it becomes hot. Why? The molecules molecules of the hotter object, it mixes with the colder object. So while it mixing, so it also changes into heat. So that is the thing. Here we are reading about transfer of heat. How the heat energy is transferred to the another region, that is colder region. Okay. So in summer season we can observe. In summer season we can observe easily this one. Okay. So we are in the AC room. Okay. We are inside the AC room. Okay. So while we are coming out of the AC room, we can observe the hot. Okay, we can observe very hot thing. So why? Because the hot molecules, that is in the hot region, so the molecules are very hot. So it comes, touches to our body, we can feel heat. Okay, we can feel heat. That is the thing. The heat energy transfers from one, that is hot region to the cold region. Okay, so this, like this we can read here. So what are the three different types of transferring of heat? Okay, so transfer of heat, so we can read by the three different types here. Okay, what are the three different types? One is conduction. Another one is, second is convection. So read the words carefully. Okay, don't confuse here. One is conduction of heat. Okay, conduction of heat. Here convection of heat. Okay, B. CONDUCTION, conduction of heat. CONVECTION, conduction of heat. Okay, and the third one is radiation. Third one is radiation. Okay, so what are the three types of transfer of heat? We are reading in this lesson, that is conduction of heat, convection of heat, and radiation of heat. Okay, so conduction. So what is meant by conduction here? So conduction is mainly transfer of heat in the solids. Okay, conduction of heat is, that is in conduction of heat, that is the transfer of heat mainly in the solids. Okay, transfer of heat from the hotter part to the colder part. Okay, so that is in the solids. Okay, so how the heat transferred in the solids? By the collision of the molecules inside the solid particles, by the collision. So what does mean by collision? So what does mean by the collision word? The word collision means it touches the molecules inside the objects. It touches the molecules inside the objects. So while we are taking the example of this chalk piece, okay, so inside this chalk piece, okay, so the molecules, the small particles of this chalk powder, okay, are one and one are touches inside this chalk piece. Is it right? Are you agreeing this? No? The particles are touches one and one. Okay, so this touches one and one. So like this, while collision. So we are saying that is the particles inside the object are touching one and one. Okay, so let us take an example of metals. Okay, let us take an example of metals. We are taking iron. Okay, iron or any other metals, aluminium, tin. Okay, any other metals we are taking. That metals are, the molecules of that metals are continuing one by one. Okay, are continuing one by one. See, we are taking like this metal. Okay, so this metal we can keep here by our hand. Okay, we are keep here by our hand. So here we are heating using a burner. Using a burner, we are heating here. The flames are like this. Okay, so here we are heating. While heating this rod, okay, so here the rod should be heated. vibrating inside the object. So it moves slowly to the other particles inside the object. So the heat should be slowly moving like this by the vibrating inside the molecules. After that, sometimes we can't hold. Okay, so this part of this object also should be heated for after some time. Okay, so that is this iron rod can heated fully. How? The molecules which is inside the iron rod, that the molecules are collision. Okay, so inside the rods are colliding inside. Okay, that is, it may be collisions by the vibrating of the molecules by heating. Okay, by heating, iron rod expands. You know this, no? You know in your from your 5th and 6th standard only you read that. Okay, iron rod can be expands. Okay, iron ball can be expands by heating. Okay, iron ball can expand by heating. So how it expands? By vibrating the molecules. Okay, but so the molecules should be stable. While heating, it should be vibrates like this. While vibrating, the object should be expand. Object has expanded. Okay, while expanding, the molecules are vibrating. Okay, while vibrating, it touches one and one. Okay, while vibrating, the molecules are touches one by one. While touching the molecules, this molecule is heated now. Okay, it touches to the other molecule. While it touches, it also having heat. Again, it touches to the other molecule, another molecule. So one and one molecules are heating one by one. So all the objects should be heated now. So this is the conduction of heat in the solids. So how the transfer of heat by the conduction method? Okay, are you understand now, children? So I am telling once again. So inside the particles, okay, inside the matter, the particles are vibrating while heating. Oh, okay, while getting heating. Okay, so the transfer of heat. Here we are heating. This heat should be transferred the full object. Okay, understood? So here the transfer of heat to all the particles of the object. Why? Because of the collision. What is mean by collision? The vibrating, the particles are touching one by one. That we can say it is a collision. So what is mean by collision? The particles inside the object is touching one by the heating effect of the molecules. Heating effect of the molecules, the particles are vibrating. While vibrating, the molecules are touching one by one. So this touching, we can say it is a collision of the particles. Okay, collision of the particles. By collision of the particles, the heat is transferred from one particle to another particle inside the object. So this is the conduction of object. Conduction of object. Okay, understood, children? Okay, then heat transfer through conduction occurs within solids between solid substances that are in direct contact with each other. So I told that only. So inside this iron particle, inside this iron, there is a direct contact with the particles inside the iron rod. Okay. So inside the iron rod, the direct contact with the particle inside the iron rod. See here, I told the chalk piece also. Okay. So inside this chalk piece, the particles are having direct contact inside this. But in this chalk piece, so these two are different. So here, there is no direct contact with this chalk piece to this chalk piece. But inside the particles of this chalk piece the particles are having direct contact with it. Okay, so like that, the metals are having the direct contact with the particle inside it. Okay, so by this direct contact, the conduction of heat is easy. Okay, so for example, I'll say for example, we are using the kitchen vessels. Okay, we are using the kitchen vessels. Okay, so while heating the pan or any other vessel, it should be heated fully. Okay, it should be heated fully. How it heats? Because of the particles. So the particles inside the solids are direct contact with each other. So it can easily conduct the heat. That is conductor of heat. And we can say it is a transfer of heat from one place to another place. That is hotter place to colder place. We are using here that is vessel kitchen. That is the example. Okay. So then good and poor conductors of heat. Good and poor conductor of heat. You know that is metals are the good conductor of heat. In all the metals are good conductor of heat. That is in the solids. In solids, the example metals are good conductors of heat. But some of the solid particles are poor conductor of heat. Some of the solid particles are, some of the solid particles are poor conductors of heat. Okay. So what are those? We can say that is insulators. We can say that particles are insulators. What are the examples of insulators? We can say that is what? Wood. Okay. Wood is a poor conductor of heat. That is a insulator. And then we can say plastics. Okay. Rubber, clay, and cotton. These are all the examples for insulators. Okay. So these are all poor conductors of heat. Okay. And then practical applications of the conduction. So practical applications. Okay. So what is the practical applications? So here I told already we are using the utensils in the kitchen. Okay. Pans and all we are using for cooking. Okay. That is one practical application. Okay. And one more thing, we are using the clothes. Okay. So that traps the heat inside the body. In winter season,